This interview never ends. There's no beginning and no ending. We're just in the middle of it right here.
Welcome to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Malzman. Who you just heard right now is a true rock star. Wow. We are in the music building. Our tape date today is April 12th. 2011 or 2011. We're in the music building. The address is 584 8th Avenue.
8th Avenue, baby. 38th, 39th Street.
38th, 39th.
Every floor has got at least 5 bands rocking at all times.
And right next to a liquor store.
Of course.
Wouldn't you know it?
Well, the Bodega is where we all go for beer. We don't drink liquor. We only drink beer.
Budweiser.
And smoke pot.
There you go. See, I told you the true rock star. Ian Lloyd, Brother Louie, fame and stories of fame. Ian Lloyd is with us. Ian, I haven't seen you since 1972 when you wanted to hang a guy in a recording studio as you were working.
Don't mention that name.
But it's been 40.
You know, it's funny
years.
Because I don't remember wanting to hang him, but that was at the beginning, which is even not giving anything away. But it was like that wasn't like after like years. That was at the beginning.
You were looking to hang him. I got to hang this guy.
My God.
You wanted to grab a cord and just hang him from the rafter there.
I would never perpetrate any physical violence, only mental abuse.
Without mentioning names, why do you want to hang this guy?
I didn't want to go into it. It's negative, and I was wrong to want to, and no one did, and he's still alive. So
what session was that talking about? Was that the Brother Louie session?
No, you said 1972. 1972, I was just starting. We were just working on the first Stories album, which did not include Brother Louie. That was on the second one. That was like some great songs. I don't know if the viewers or listeners would know, but our very first Stories hit was "I'm Coming Home," which was like a rock country shuffle, which is like totally different than most of the music that we ended up doing. Yet it was called "I'm Coming Home," and it was top 40 Billboard, and subsequently, I guess it was the late 70s when the hostages were taken in Iran. When they were returned, there was a big ceremony at Shea Stadium, which is now no longer there. And one of the songs they played for the returned hostages coming home was "I'm Coming Home," which was nice. And I also was compared to Paul McCartney on those vocals, which is kind of funny because Brother Louie brought me to be compared to Rod Stewart, and and I've worked with Foreigner and Yes and Billy Joel, and I'm a chameleon of sorts.
Yeah, kind of Rod Stewart, but when we spoke on the phone for the first time in a long time, and they expected a gravelly voice, but you don't have it. What happened?
I have my voice is like, thank the herbal hogweed and the eau de po, the marijuana, 40 years of smoking pot, and my voice is stronger and better than it's ever been. I mean, it's everybody has their moments, but I mean, in general, like when I get into a mic on stage, or especially in the studio, I've just worked so much and learned so much from the people I've worked with, like John Anderson from Yes. I learned so much from him working with him on Yes Union, which was one of the least enjoyed albums by Yes fans, and yet a great album. Because I'm a Yes fan, and even though I sang on it, it's a great album. There's some just the basic classic kind of Yes structure happening, and John Anderson is great, and anything John does is great. But my point is that I just learned so much from recording with different people. I've worked with Peter Frampton and Kiss and everybody, and it's just I've learned a lot and been able to control, and singing is a very physical. It's almost like drumming because you're using a lot of abs and vocal and throat and lungs, and it's a matter of knowing how to relax and yet project without burning it out. Now, I definitely burn it out, and then I sound like Edith Bunker from All in the Family.
Archie!
Archie! Oh my God! And I go, oh, and I listen back to recordings and go, oh, shoot me now. I'm never singing again. But it's just, it was that time, it was the moment, and other times it's great, and in a controlled situation like a studio, I excel. I mean, I just can do almost anything.
When you listen to work, are you always satisfied, or hardly ever satisfied, or never satisfied? Could you have done it better? Could you have done it stronger?
Well, live-wise, it's always,
it's going to be different.
I just wish it was better, and I really have trouble listening to myself performing live after the fact. But studio-wise, I really do have. I feel like an artist and a painter in the studio. I really can, do what I need to do and control it, and I can double and triple it if I need to, tight or loose, or So I really have a lot of control and command of what I'm doing when I'm able to do it multiple times and really focus in on parts and sections. So live is hit and miss,
You backed Billy Joel, I Go to Extremes. Did you do the video?
No, I had nothing. I had nothing to do with Billy, except that I worked on the Stormfront. Oh, it's a great video. Yeah, I have friends who are on it. My good friend Mark Rivera was the big sax guy for Billy live on. The Garden, the video from the Garden. You see Mark playing. Multi-talented vocalist. He and I, Mark Rivera and I did a lot of early Foreigner background, high vocals, and there's not a lot of people who can do the high vocal, because I'm not doing falsetto. I'm doing a shade of falsetto with the body of the note with a lot of power. So it's really, you could say Rod Stewart, Paul McCartney when he does his, I'm Down is a classic. That's a power vocal, You've been telling lies thinking I can see. You won't cry because you're laughing at me. I'm down. That's like a lot of rasp and multiple notes going on in one single breath.
And it's almost anti-McCartney, because ordinarily he's kind of soft and mellow and sweet.
Well, everybody, he's definitely, the softer Beatle of
he's
all
a soft
of them.
Beatle.
But he sang so many great power vocals, that being one of my favorites.
I remember in '72, you were a cerebral type. You were kind of introspective. You were kind of into yourself a little bit, and kind of a major rock thinker. You kind of nothing commercial. You wanted to, and you were kind of a thinker. And watching you just now, 20 minutes set, you look like you're having more fun than were having back then.
Well, it's easier when you are not the lead singer. You know what I mean? When you're not the focus, there's a whole. Now I'm immediately into a different level of performance, which is more a backbeat, relaxed kind of feel. Because I got my son singing lead, and he's sounding more and more like me, for better or worse. I do think that I have a unique sound. There are people that I sound like who are more successful, so people will say, "Oh, he sounds like." But I've definitely. If you were here tomorrow night, although you're not because we're not here, but if I was here tomorrow night, I'd be rehearsing with my band, and it'd be a whole different, another thing. We'd be playing Brother Louie and my current CD and songs.
Talk about your current CD, and then I want to talk about your son.
Yeah, definitely. I have my most recent CD was finished this is 2011, 2009. Near the end of the year, we finished it and put it out. So it's really about a year plus old. It's called In the Land of Oedipo. And it's kind of interesting because obviously I in performance with my band, I play, the first half of the set is all stories, not including Brother Louie. But we have Mammy Blue, I'm Coming Home, Slip Away, which was a solo, my only really charted top 40 solo single that the Cars wrote and performed with me, so I had that connection. Trying to stay focused here. But In the Land of the Oedipo was, so we recorded it. I'll try to keep it brief. I had a project and a lot of writing with multiple, my guitarist and the keyboardist that I used. But I came across this fellow who was like a DJ, not R&B, rap, hip-hop DJ from Long Island. And really great guy, really talented, very Pro Tools savvy, and, really had his stuff together, his shit together, And I met him and went, man, I want to take what I've done here and make it sound less 70s and more, just more contemporary. This is like late 90s, and I was a big K-Rock fan, and I just loved listening to all the different songs that were, because I personally, and people will disagree with me, and now I'm going off on a tangent, but I actually had a conversation with someone in Chicago about this, and they said, man, I feel the same way, and it was like, wow, somebody else thinks this. The 60s were the best. It was the best and worst of times because of the environment and the political situation and Nixon and Vietnam, but it was also the best of times because we were at the beginning of establishing rock. There was rock and roll, there was rockabilly, there was country and all that stuff, but the Beatles were just coming in and establishing everything they did was new and different. Oh my God, they use a sitar. Oh my God, they use a string quartet. Oh my God, they have multiple harmonies, and oh my God, double track. And it was crazy, so it was like but also style, hairstyle, cinema, the whole thing was busting loose, and it was great. And I don't mean to compare the 60s to the 90s, but musically, there's definite connection. Because if you go, you have the 60s. The late 60s were the British invasion, and it really changed the entire tone of music in the world. I'm an American, so, my favorites, before the Beatles, my favorite artists were, Gene Pitney was a big influence as a songwriter and as a singer. I just, half heaven, half heartache, with some great songs. His big songs were, Town Without Pity and Only Love Can Break Your Heart, da da da. Just great. Not rock, but great music, great pop,
You talk about the 60s, and it really was the best of times, the worst of times, of course, the Kennedys and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And boy, it was just like the best of times and the worst of times. And just to get off the subject for one moment, actually staying on the subject, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I've been after them for 10 years. Sid Bernstein, Sid certainly deserves, besides being a true gentleman and a great family guy, he certainly deserves his place in the hall there and the non-performer.
There's no doubt.
He's the guy that did it. So just,
I'm sure there are a lot of people. Definitely a lot of people that should be in that aren't in yet, and he's definitely, in my opinion, at the top of the list. Just because I've known him for a long time, and more recently hung out because now I'm like breaking out and promoting my projects. So I've been doing like rock conventions and Beatle conventions, and he's always there, and it's just always nice to come up to him, and I go, Louie. And he goes, he knows who I am. I don't have to do it. He knows who I am. But he's a beautiful.
Well, in 1963, I worked with him at GAC. And he used to have me come in and watch all these auditions. What do you think, Herb? What do you think? We would sit in there and talk about it later on. And one day we saw a really great band. They had an audition room right there in the offices. We sat down and said, Sid, you got to sign this band, a great band. He says, well, they don't sign any newcomers, unknowns. Then he told me about a band he's following, tracking in England. He wouldn't tell me the name. He said, I'll probably have to quit to bring them over. Knowing me, I probably said quit. But, of course, it turned out to be...
That's what he was saying.
That's what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah. And knowing me, I probably said...
I think we all know who this is going to be.
Anyway, talk about your son and social hero.
Well, let me finish my thing. So, Oedipo recorded, DJ... I turned him on to, like, Incubus and Korn, and these are... I don't know if you know these bands. These are big bands from the 90s who kind of absorbed hip-hop and turntable stuff, but put it into a heavy rock mode. And I turned him on to that and said, obviously I'm not going to be Incubus or Korn or any of those bands, but, you do this type of thing. Let's take my music and kind of... So he did that. Consequently, the album is very techno. It's very 90s sounding, kind of like keyboard-wise, so sounds are a little dated. But it's just very different and unique. And I just want... I'll get back to my son, of course.
Sure, okay.
But I want to finish like what I've been doing because it's kind of interesting. The Oedipo in the land of Oedipo. It's kind of about, all the songs are loosely related to smoking pot and how, a culture of pot smokers, of which I am part of, and even though it's illegal, a lot of things that are illegal are not that bad for you, and there's a lot of things that are legal that are worse than things that are illegal.
And folks, don't do it. Okay, go.
So I mean, everyone should do it. If you have a problem, smoke a joint. Just relax, chill out, take a toke, and try to get back to reality. But in any event, I mean, in other words, things overwhelm you, and stress and everything. People that just can't. Where's their outlet? I mean, is it scotch? And you pass out. You don't pass out. But anyway,
our tape today is April 12th. 2011 or 2011. We're in the Music Building. The address is 584 8th Avenue.
8th Avenue, baby. 38th, 39th Street.
38th, 39th.
Every floor has got at least 5 bands rocking at all times.
And right next to a liquor store.
Of course.
Wouldn't you know it?
Well, the Bodego is where we all go for beer. We don't drink liquor. We only drink beer.
Budweiser.
And smoke pot.
There you go. See, I told you the true rock star. Ian Lloyd, Brother Louie, fame and stories of fame. Ian Lloyd is with us. Ian, I haven't...
This interview never ends. There's no beginning and no ending. We're just in the middle of it right here.
Welcome to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Malzman, who you just heard right now is a true rock star. Wow. We are in the Music Building. Seen you since 1972 when you wanted to hang a guy at a recording studio as you were working.
Don't mention Don't mention that name.
But it's been 40.
It's funny years. Because I don't remember wanting to hang him, but that was at the beginning, which is even not giving anything away. But it was like that wasn't like after years. That was at the beginning.
You were looking to hang him. I got to hang this guy.
God.
You wanted to grab a cord and just hang him from the rafter.
I would never perpetrate any physical violence. Only mental abuse.